not an all-time high. And that high that we went to was 69.05, which is a normal spot for it to go. This is all normal stuff you're seeing as the market gets a little crowded, as people say, well, hey, I want to own this stock, I want to own that stock. I thought very positive when you look and stand back. Palantir finally got a good bid, and Palantir looks decent. And TLT, I saw a lot of people posting in there. I just took one of them about the new TLT anchor program. That rang the profit bell this morning. And as I think it was Dave that said that he's on scholarship now. I love hearing those words. Okay. And so what I want to do this morning, I've got a little special thing. I plan on having a full interview with one of our students. You might know him and see him around. He's been in this business a long time, but he struggled like so many people do, like I did and everybody else. But the light bulb went off a few months back, and I really am proud of him. And I thought I'd bring him on. You probably met him and everything, and but just to ask him a few couple questions, then we'll get into the regular format. But David, I call him David R. because I don't want to mess up his last name, but it's Rosensat, I guess is the way you say it. But he's got a team of people, traders that he works with, and he's really diligent and having to persevere. So I thought I'd introduce him today anyway, and maybe ask a couple questions. David, are you here? Can you hear me?
I am, Tom.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. I just want to ask a couple questions. David, I know that you've been to Sawgrass, you've been a gold member, you've been around a long time, probably about 9 years. And you've been down here, you took special futures training from me, you took just about everything I had. And I know that you have all these starts and failures like all traders do. But in the last 2 months, you've assembled a team, and the team is working, and I think it's good. But I'd like to ask the question: what do you think the turning point, or if you had to advise somebody listening, today, what would be the turning point for you after all these years of perseverance?
Well, I have to tell you, Tom, and I've been trading for around 40 years, about as long as you have. And I always came at this, my own way. I have a unique background. I worked with market makers and specialists. In fact, I'm the guy that put this in your hands, for better or for worse. I actually built the first systems that enable electronic trading for people with mice and graphical user interfaces and such. And the epiphany for me was recognizing that what I was missing was Tom's unique method of framing the market. It was always hit or miss every day. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Am I going to make money? Am I going to lose money? I was basing this on my gut feeling rather than on any sort of scientific or precision basis. And I was listening for Tom for years and years and years, and I wasn't sure I understood or believed his message. But some time ago, it hit me that the guy's right. If you don't have a good frame, if you don't know what the parameters are, you can't trade. It's like walking into a gunfight, not knowing who your enemy is and what kind of loadout you have. I mean, you've got to be prepared. And Tom provides this foundation in a way that I had never seen before, never appreciated, until I finally said, to heck with it. I'm just going to go with the flow and see how it works out. And then I saw the brilliance of his maneuvers. The object isn't to look at 50 different charts and graphs and to try to divine the future from all this mysterious stuff. What you really want to know is, what's the number? What am I shooting at? And how do I find it? And Tom's got the tools to find it, and he teaches how to establish this. So going in what you're doing and whether you should be in or not. And that, he keeps saying long, short, or out. Well, that's all you need to know, right? But
Right.
how are you going to know that if you haven't followed Tom's method and learned it?
Well, I know that, it's a struggle because this is not an easy game. I mean, your background was in medicine and tech and all that other stuff, but the bottom line is that it's very, what I would call emotionally draining for smart people. They think they're going to use what made them successful outside of the trading world, and they get all complicated and they lose sight of. That's why the pivot number that I give every day, I give it away free, but people go, well, what's that? Or they don't take the time to learn how valuable it is. Okay. And then there's other things that we do. The roadmap software, I know you told me that you heard me say for years, I don't trade without it. And you bought it, never used it, probably just sat there. And now with your success, you're using it and learning just how unique that piece of software is to getting on the right side of the world. But another thing, Dave, I know you believe in education, and recently we came up with this idea of a 52-week interactive course, and I know you were hot. You got your guys. You're trying to get them trained on this. You thought it would be perfect for them to have. So maybe give your take on the education side of it also.
Well, I got to say, in all full disclosure, I'm a little bit biased. I was a professor of finance and risk engineering, among other things, at the very first financial engineering program in the country. And so I'm a believer constitutionally. But the fact is, what we're doing requires knowledge and skill that can only be built up over time. Now, you can spend 40 years screwing around, losing tens of millions of dollars like I did, making a few bucks here and there. Or for God's sakes, you can actually learn it step by step from the guy who knows how to, not only knows the method, but knows how to teach it effectively. And, all my years in academia, I taught for about a dozen years. I never encountered anybody who had the ability to communicate concepts like this in the way that Tom does. So not only do you have a master educator, but you have the master of the market here. And the only way you're going to shortcut this process and become a productive trader and an effective trader is to learn. And Tom's got the program. My God, this home study thing is the best thing since sliced bread, as far as I'm concerned. And anybody who's serious about wanting to make money and not just dabble around has got to take it. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? And I guarantee whoever you are, whatever your experience level is, there's a heck of a lot that you're going to learn from Tom. I mean, witness me, right? I have never traded better than I have with Tom's guidance and mentorship. You gotta get it from the source.
And the last question, I know this is going to be short, but the last question, no matter how smart you are or how good a trader you are or all that, you have to have a process and the emotions, right, Dave? The emotions that go in. Talk to him a little bit about the emotions.
It's your money, right? Every time, something doesn't go your way, it just rips your heart out, right? And when it goes well, you celebrate and great. It doesn't have to be random, right? This is a process. I worked with people on Wall Street for many, many years. And the ones that are successful, it's a job, it's a business, it's a grind. You do the same thing over and over again. It may sound boring, but you got to have this process down. You got to be able to take your lumps when you make a mistake, and everybody makes them, right? If you misread the market, you hit the wrong button on the mouse, there are going to be mistakes. That's part of the process. 100% certainty is simply not something in human experience. You've got to get the process, you got to learn the method, and you just follow it. And if you follow it, you will make money. I promise you. If you think you're smarter than Tom, you might be smarter than me, but I guarantee you're not smarter than Tom.
I don't know about that, but look, guys, I wanted to bring him on. I don't want to tell you just how great he's doing. He's doing outstanding, but I'm going to try to bring him back next week if that's possible, Dave, if your schedule allows. I know this is a time you're doing a lot of trading. I appreciate you hopping on. But next week we'll bring you back with a full interview. But I just wanted to share with you the success of somebody that struggled. I mean, I maybe I ought to go do something else. All those thoughts that go on, but the perseverance of weathering it, and now it's like blue sky for him, and I get a real kick out of it when I get somebody that's able to actually put it in action and all. So anyway, I wanted to bring you on, Dave. Thank you for being here, and I'll
My
be talking
pleasure.
to you. And any last words for everybody?
Any questions?
Yeah, anybody got any questions they'd like to ask him?
All right. Well, let me part with best wishes. You can do this, right? There's no magic to what we do. It's something that you can learn no matter where you come from, no matter what your background is. If you just open up your mind and stop fighting it, just agree you're going to make money, decide you're going to be successful, and follow Tom's methods. Learn it, use the tools he provides, use the insights that come from the method and the tools, and you'll make money. And we all want to do that, right? The world's a tough place. Make it a little easier on yourself. Do the right
One last thing you said to me that was sort of a breakthrough, and I remember you saying this, was the live trading I do Tuesday through Friday.
Oh, it's priceless. It's like you're sitting in Tom's office trading with him. And I have done that, right? And there's
Right.
nothing more valuable. If you can afford it, if Tom can find the time to accommodate you, that's what you ought to do. But failing that, being live on Zoom is the next best thing. And that's what I do all day long. I learn that it's better to sit with a couple other people that you work with who are on the same page, who get it, who can kibitz, who can advise. This doesn't have to be a solo thing. It can be. You can do this from anywhere you in the world by yourself. It's a little better to have a team with you, and it's a heck of a lot better to have the master coaching you as you go. You can be the best football player, basketball player in the world. If you don't have a good coach, you're just not gonna perform.
Just like golf, you don't have a good coach, you would never hit that ball right. David, thanks again. We'll bring him back next week for some more, but I just wanted you to hear about his success, and it really means a lot to me to see somebody struggles. That never giving up, that perseverance. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to share David's conversation. Thanks, Dave. We're going to go into our regular program now, folks. Today we got you here, and obviously there's risk involved in trading. And when you look at that, you say to yourself, there is risk involved in trading, because guess what happened? It goes up, it goes down. You got to be prepared. In my opinion, the day's high will not last. 69.05 will not last. It might last for today, but it won't last in December. That's my opinion. Train and Trade. Welcome to Train and Trade. I'm glad everybody's here. We have a lot of good times here at Train and Trade. And today's topic, I think you're going to love it, is earnings. Doc, what I mean, we'll go higher. I should have been clearer. Okay, I wanted to put this out there for people. We're going to do. I mean, everybody's coming into my TNT room, and I'm getting some positive comments. Said, Tom, I heard that. I didn't do it. I didn't think it was worth it. And so I thought today on Friday we'd give a last chance on the BOGO. You buy 1 month, get 2 months, and so take your shot at it, and take me up on it. Be with me in the next 2 months. BOGO in the TNT room. Get 1 month free, 1 month you pay for. You can't beat that deal the next 60 days, and you'll find out exactly how valuable it is in that 60 days. Then it goes back to the 200, but join me. All right, earnings. Earnings is what drives stocks, and earnings. And I figured out after all these years that you can learn a lot just from earnings announcements by the reaction to the news. Okay, and that's something that that is good. Bruce, watch the, if you will, watch the master class yesterday. It tells you how to do what everybody's did. Okay. Great slides. All right. I'm going to cover the earnings insights. I'm going to let Jonathan cover the rest of it, but earnings insights. Here's my insights. Do not anticipate earnings. Let the market give you the reaction to determine whether to be long, short, or out. So you got to say, after earnings is where the bets get better. After earnings. Watch the stock and it will tell you the story. Don't guess. I've guessed many times, and it's basically throwing something at a wall. Establishing that pivot point around earnings should last you for 45 days. And what I'm talking about an hour after the earnings report, say hypothetically, Google's trading at 320. Well, if you see that 320, it's a good number for about 45 days. Okay. You have to establish that pivot point after earnings. That's one of the most valuable things that I think earnings give you is that pivot point. Market timing. Depending if the earnings release is before the market or after the market, the stock will trade differently. Let me explain. Before the market, use the pivot number established at the time of earnings. Very simple. Hour after they report in the morning, use that pivot number, and then look at it in conjunction with the way it opened on that day, after it opens. And if it's above those two numbers, you got a solid reason maybe to be long. Now, after the market, use the pivot number and the next day's opening price. Keep that in mind. So if they report after the market, you come back to that opening price the next day. Above those two numbers, you got a bullish reaction. And that's an insight that keeps it simple, but helps you make money on stocks you care about. Now, here's something that's an insight I use. I establish and look at when somebody says they got earnings coming. I will look back 30 days and see whether we got a breakout or breakdown capability during earnings. I'll look at a 30-day high, a 30-day low, and frame that stock by that 30 days around earnings. Now, whether trading options or stocks, think of 45 days as the window of opportunity for entering or exiting any stock. That 45 days, about halfway through the cycle, that's about as good as all that stuff I just covered will help you. And then you got to start looking elsewhere. All right, I'm going to let Jonathan take over part 2. But those insights should give you a lot of information that you can follow. Take it away, Jonathan.
Yeah, now we are recording on YouTube, so go back and check out those insights anytime you need to. Maybe once a quarter would be a logical time to do that. But this is Train and Trade for December 5th, and I just love those 5 insights. Tom is never short of insights, is he? Because how many years he's been doing this. And that's a huge value of just being here. We all know about key parts of earnings releases. Of course, there's sales income, that's the revenue coming in. There's net income, which is profit after expenses, taxes, whatnot. There's earnings per share, how much profit the company's making per share of stock. And then there's forward guidance, and a lot of times forward guidance is considered the most important part. How many times have you seen a stock beat on sales and beat on income, but they drop, right? Because the guidance is poor. Guidance is very, very important. Couple sources that we typically use. I like the NASDAQ website. You can just go to you can just Google search earnings NASDAQ.com. and it comes up, but there's a direct link for the NASDAQ site. Investing, have used that from time to time, and same for Earnings Whispers. There's obviously several other resources, but these are kind of three here for you. Now, I put conventional thought. We don't go by conventional thought here necessarily, but the conventional thought is the quote expected stock reaction. If the company beats earnings, the stock is expected to rise. That doesn't always happen. If the company misses expectations, the stock is expected to drop. But again, as Tom said, we're not here to make assumptions, right? It's good to know the conventional thought, the expected reactions and whatnot. But at the end of the day, the stock is going to tell us a story. So we got to go by what the stock is saying. And that's what the methodology uses. Let's talk about trading strategy. Make no assumptions with earnings. Let the stock tell the story and trade it. With those 5 insights Tom went over, he's talking about establishing a pivot number. So you know whether to be thinking long above pivot or to be thinking short below pivot. And then you're establishing that high and low frame to go from, to trade from. That 30 days gives a great big picture. You can narrow it down to, like Tom said, that hour. Not only do you get a pivot number from the hour of earnings, you also get a high-low frame to go from on a shorter term basis. And we teach that in our Earnings Unlimited program, actually. So if Chuck is available, we asked him to do a little case study on Apple because it's not just about how the market reacts on earnings. You can pick up a lot of little great insights from past earnings announcements and the stock's reaction from past earnings and compare it to, the current earnings. So Chuck, if you can take it away.
All right, Jonathan, let's go ahead and hit that next slide. So when we're talking about earnings, we're specifically looking at Apple here. First thing you want to do is find their earnings dates. So the next earnings date for Apple is on January 28th, but let's compare the previous earnings reports, October 29th, July 30th, May 1st, January 29th, October 30th of last year, and July 31st of last year. So going back a little bit over a year. And first thing you do is you collect the data. So let's go ahead and move to that next slide where we've got the data collected. So I'm looking at the opens of each of these time frames. So the open on the trading date, prior to that, the open of the week. We get the open 1 day after the earnings report, open 5 days after, and open 10 days after. And I want to see how these stocks perform. Now, this is all just numbers, probably a little bit confusing. Let's break it down a little bit, go to the next slide, and show what the actual movement was. So going from the open of the week, we go up $5.13 to the earnings date on the 29th, and you can see how that moves forward. Now, I want to look at this not just in terms of dollars and cents, but in terms of percentages. So went ahead and translated that. We'll move to our next slide. And these are the percentage moves that we're looking at. Now, again, it's all just a bunch of data, but on the next slide, I'm going to show you something really neat. Let's go ahead and hit the chart here. So you can look at the chart where we go from, starting from the open of the week, you go up to the earnings date, and you can see that in 3 out of 3, the market moves up. I was thinking it was 5, but it's 3 out of 3, the market moves up into the earnings date. It comes back a little bit, slows down a little bit the day after. 5 days after, yeah, that's not a great place to be, but look at that move from 5 days after to 10 days after. That's pretty much consistent across the board. You know what's the line that looks different, that orange line? That was during the government shutdown. So put that into consideration. That's almost a throwaway number because there's an outside influence that's taking away from the earnings. All right, let's go to our next slide here. We'll look at some observations. So from the open of the week until the earnings date, market seems to rise 3 out of 6 instead of 3 out of 5. So slight correction there. But the open the day after earnings shows little to no change. 5 days after the report is a downward move or a loss of momentum. And from 5 days after to 10 days after, Apple moves up. The 5 to 10 day after earning, or the 5 to 10 days after the earnings report appears to be the best move for Apple. In the case of the past 5 earnings reports, the one that doesn't fit the bill was during the government shutdown. And even that went slightly higher. So if I'm looking at Apple earnings, how do I want to approach that? Mark down the earnings, wait 5 days, and take advantage of that 5 to 10 day move. Now, that's not going to be true for every stock. And it's, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, but that's a pretty consistent performance. And Jonathan, if we'll just step back to the chart that I threw up there, step back one slide. That's consistent. That is powerful when you see where we are at the 5 days after and then where we are at the 10 days after. That's going to tell me how I want to approach this particular stock. So maximum is to wait those 5 days and then take advantage of the next 5 days. Or you could come into this and say, okay, on that earnings date, and just look consistently across the board, everything went up from the earnings date to 10 days after. So pretty powerful little piece of information there. And it really doesn't take that much effort. You got to punch in all the numbers, but this stuff is available to the public. You can just go and pull up your Apple chart, do a little research to find the earnings dates, and you can punch in this type of information for any stock you like. But with Apple earnings, so let's see, Tom, next opportunity is January? I think January 28th. I got to look at that and say, hey, there might be an opportunity there. If we look at the January number from last year, that purple line, not quite as big as a dip as all the other earnings dates, but you still have a nice solid climb from 5 days after to 10 days after.
Yeah, one thing I took away is that if you're bullish on Apple, you need to give it about 5 days after earnings, and then the seasonality of it works in your favor if everything else is set up. That's what I took away from this, because, and the other thing I took away is that Apple is not a big mover around earnings, so it gives you some option capability also in those 5 days.
Yep, and the January report includes Christmas holiday sales. Jim pointing that out, so
yeah,
that's a big deal. But even without those Christmas holiday sales, you can see the July report giving you that probably the biggest percent difference. That's the lowest one on the 5 days, and just look at how high that jumps up. And let's see, what are some other things we can glean from that? The main thing is you got that consistent move from the 5 days after to the 10 days after, even on the one day that was kind of anomalous, which was the government shutdown, October 29th. Even that line is not as big of a move, but it is a move up.
I'm just going to accentuate this pivot line. I'm going to use the 0 to make it simple, but I'm going to accentuate the pivot line and remember the process of a pivot. All right. Let's see, what color do I want to make it here? Let's make it orange, I guess. Let's make it blue. It'll stand out a little more.
Yeah, so that would be 0% gain from the open of the week of the earnings report.
I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, we know the market makes a reaction down. Let's see if we can get back above that pivot line, and then we're good to trade it on positive reference bars above the opens. Follow the method. There you go.
Confirmation helps. Yes, that's a great plan there.
Well, I tell you, the education that we bring here, just totally, all you got to do is showed ability to show up, you get some pretty good stuff. This here is a home run, I think, when it comes to earnings, because it gives you a lot of practical use of the data and what to look for. What do y'all think? Y'all think this is good? Looking at this? Yeah, I think so too. So I'm glad everybody showed up. You got a big bonus today. You know, I know that this kind of stuff, it makes you better at this game of trading. And as Jim said, a light bulb moment. Yeah, I like that, Jim. Now, he's an experienced trader, does great in his own right. I got to get him, interview him sometime. But, you know, what I'm trying to do is I talk to people. I mean, I talk to people. And when I talk to people and I hear something that might help you, the student, I want to bring it to you and share it with you. Nobody's got all the answers, but you got to be open-minded, and you've got to, you know, have that perseverance where you'll sit there and say, I really want to do this, and I'm willing to study and learn and ask questions. You know, questions. Carol is probably one of the best students I've had. I almost kicked her out of the first class she came to. I couldn't get my thoughts out of the way because she asked me so many questions, but those questions paid her off big time because she got answers, and those answers have really made her a great student and trader, and had great results with what we do. But anyway, I want you to hear that, and we're going to be back at, I guess we'll be back at 1:30. What are we going to do next? We're going to talk about live trade this afternoon, or what are we going to do?
Yeah, Tom, I think we are. Let's see if Adam gave me a video for live trading we can play.
Yeah, some people said, how do they sign up? Watch this video. Be there at 1:30. We'll trade today as we have the last few days, and we're setting up a big December for people in live trading. So if you don't want to listen to the video, that's how you sign up. If you're new, if you're a current member, want to extend into January, February, March, we want to bring it to your attention. So let it play. The charts when you get to see it. It's unbelievable. Like I said, I put on a trade today, and guess what? Set up to go again. Tuesday through Friday. Trade day through Friday's close. Now, I've been trading for a long time. You wouldn't know it looking at me, but I've been trading for over 40 years. From one of the first to receive a Globex terminal to today's electronic markets. And the Globex terminal was the forerunner to electronic trading. My mission has always been simple. Get to know you, the customer, and teach you how to trade with confidence. That's always been my goal. Our legacy. For over 25 years, DTI has trained traders worldwide. Our students learn to read the market, not chase them. We focus on timing, discipline, and opportunity. Sort of like we work on the clock, don't we? We trade by the clock. Different times at different times in that 24-hour cycle offer better opportunities. I teach you that. I teach you that. Let me ask everyone here a question. Y'all ready to answer a question? Here it is. You've been trading during the day, looking at something like that, getting frustrated? Who's been doing that? I've done it where it just bores you. It bores you where you go stiff. Sometimes you even fall asleep, but it bores you. And then you might get confident market's going higher after watching it, and then it does the opposite, takes your money. Done that to me many times. It's happened because you don't know what to look for. I'm going to teach you how to avoid that through my live trading. Nobody knows this, but there's a key window of time each afternoon, and that time's very important. It starts at 1:30. We call it RB4, reference bar 4 for the rest of the day. 1:30, we kick it off with our key reference bar as it opens up, and the window opens up for us. Now, if you know how to trade this reference bar, you can have a shot at trading the boom period when it booms. or the bust period when it is not. How many people here would like to know every day, Tuesday through Friday? I use Tuesday through Friday because I'm live with you. How many people would like to know whether to be long, short, or out after that time period before the market closes and before it opens the following night and the next morning? I proved it over and over again. People like to trade XP, SPX. I've given you the information. It's pretty interesting by being able to do this day by day. Last month, I started this live trading for the last quarter because I thought it was going to be prime time for us, and I was right. We've had a lot of opportunities at 1:30 to 3. So far, we've seen some pretty nice trades. How do I know? People tell me. They'll type in there like Frank did, $4,000 here, 2,000 there, 500 there. It adds up. Pretty soon it's some real money. Like with the XSP I did on October the 27th, a layup trade. We had a layup trade yesterday. That afternoon wasn't doing much, but I could look at it based on what I was seeing from 133, so we ought to do it. We did it. Got paid. Reference bar showed us exactly how to play it. Gave me what I needed to issue the trade. In live trading session, I went long. Stock soared the next day. We got paid. Give us a nice 21% return. So how much is 21%? Well, if you put up $1,000, how much money would you have if you put up 20 and made 21% overnight like that? How much money would you have if you started with $1,000 on that trade? Yeah, that's right. 200 plus. That adds up. How about 430 with 2,000? You ever thought about that? So by doing this, not for day trades, but for swing trades, the way we look at it, you get paid some pretty good money for showing up. So I started sort of like a little bit tongue in cheek, telling people, if you miss one of my live trading sessions, it costs you a minimum of $200 for not showing up. Penalty fee for not getting that trade. 430 on that day. 3 weeks of live trading, we've seen wins like $344. They're on November the 7th, 256 on the TQQ. NVIDIA, 256, 234. Just gets better and better and better. QQQ, that's 1 day's worth of returns off the QQQ. I skinned that cat 3 different ways. About $800 on that one. Now, I can't guarantee future winners. Nobody can do that, but there's always risk in trading you need to be aware of. I explained that risk. The live trading sessions help us minimize it because I can take the market in real time, explain it, interpret it, and execute, and people agree. Now, I got a lot of requests and emails that made me ask the following poll. They said, Tom, will you do this further past December? I thought, man, that's a lot of work every day. I had to plan my whole schedule to be there at 1:30. So I said, let's put a poll up. I was thinking, if it's 80% or higher, I might do it. That's what I said to myself. The poll came back when we did it. Look at this. Can everybody see 100% of people in there said, Tom, extend it, do it. I said, you know, I'm ringing the bell right here for people, right? So what I do, I thought about it, I did it, and tonight we're going to open it up where you can join us, okay? And you can join us right now for the rest of the year and the first 3 months of next year. That's exactly what I did. Open it up. Today I talked about it, breaking news. I already had a bunch of people join. And I'll tell you, it's limited because we're going to cut it off. Because I want to take the people that join this, and I want everybody in there to sing and do that. Now, why does live matter? There's no substitute for watching somebody trade live. I can't hide when I put on a trade. It could die right there on the vine in front of me. You see my analysis, my execution, and my decision making as it happens. That's how real traders learn. a real-time trading and education program for you from 1:30 to 3. And I got a team around me. I got Jonathan Rowe and I got Chuck Crow. Sort of rhymes, doesn't it? Rowe and Crow from 1:30 to 3. No theories, just trading right there in front of you. I challenge anybody that you can find to do what we do every day, 1:30 to 3. You won't find it. Not at this price. Maybe at any price. It takes quite a lot of training to be able to transfer that experience and go live like this. We choose the best strategy for that particular day to enter and exit trades into the future, and we execute those trades. Timing's everything. You know, I heard people say you can't time the market. I've proven wrong every day. We take advantage of end-of-day momentum and how to focus on how to go forward. I explain each thing step by step, the risks involved, what it takes, what our goals are, why those goals are important. Every move I make every day is a real-time lesson on that particular day. That is got priceless. It's priceless, folks, to be able to get those kind of lessons. We'll use the tools that I use, the Roadmap software. We're more and more people, I got to tell you, are buying the Roadmap software because now they understand just how good it is for organizing the data, plotting out your plan to get where you want to go. We talk about the Genesis algo. That happens around noon, how it plays into that 1:30 time period and, of course, the reference bar. I'll take straight calls. I'll take straight puts, easy trades like that when the momentum's there. I do vertical debit spreads and vertical credit spreads, income trades, long trades like I did on Apple. I use an advanced technique sometimes with a Delta 50 option when I get something hot, or a Delta 10 option if I want to leverage it for small accounts. I learn and teach how to choose the strike I'm going to choose, where I'm going to enter, and where I'm going to exit, both when they're good and when they're down. The power of time and day, you can't ignore it. If you're doing something tomorrow, check your watch at 1:33. And if you're not in here with me, we're making money because odds are in our favor, and you're sitting there on the sideline wondering what's going on. Well, don't wonder anymore. You can be there with us. I've proven for decades the key part of the reference bar concept. When you understand it, you'll control your trading. The reference bar edge. Each reference bar reveals a shift in our globe. I used to say, where the sun is shining. By the time RB4 rolls around, California's making a play. We have a clear direction for the U.S. afternoon. That's the edge we trade from. Now, why does live work? Market doesn't wait. By trading live, we learn how to adapt, not react, and you see how to plan a trade, set up a trade, use a trade, execute it, manage risk, whether it's a stock, whether it's an option, or whether it's a future. We focus on being consistent. People tell me all the time, Tom, I have good days and bad days. Everybody has good days and bad days, but what I teach you is how to be consistent to your bottom line. Stacking consistent wins. Smart, repeatable trades, that's the secret. My results, well, you got to say, Tom, are you any good at this? Well, look at this. This is pretty outstanding. I've issued almost 250 trades, 248 trades. In that list of actual trades I've done, 210 winners, 36 losers, 2 at break even, at 85% accuracy. So let me put this in perspective. 85% of the time, the odds are in your favor if you use my setup, my time, and my things to do. What do you think that does for you? So if you're doing less than that, this is for you. 85% on every time we find something that fits our criteria. We don't guess. We trade when the clock, the trend, and the setup align. That's where consistency lives. Every trade has a plan, a defined risk, a clear target. There's no emotion. just execution. That's how professionals trade. Live means live. I'm not talking about a trade I might do. I'm talking about a trade I am doing. You watch me analyze it, plan, and execute it in real time. It's the purest way to teach yourself about how to trade and what to do. Now, I got a special bonus class included with this package. This is huge, folks. And I want you to think about it. If I'm with you every day, Tuesday through Friday, 1:30 to 3, how valuable would it be on January the 8th at 10:30 to 4 that I was with you all day? I want you to think about this, okay? What's important about January the 8th? I'll tell you what's important about January the 8th. It's the start of a new year. By January the 8th, I will have a plan for January, how to take advantage of it, the stocks that are lit up, ready to roll, the stocks to avoid. I will have that on January the 8th, so you're invited to be with me on January the 8th, live on that day. Put it on your calendar. I'll show you how important the 3-day algo is in real time, what I think the big picture for the year is on different markets, how far oil is away from hitting 45. I'll talk about that, and setting realistic goals based on your ability to participate, based on your risk capital, not just hype out there. I'll give you how to use it and how to use it effectively over 2026. Now, this is something that I found when I was cleaning out a box, moved my office, and I was moving, and I saw this. I said, man, the DTI playbook, the insider's guide to managing your portfolio in a market meltdown. Okay. I sold this in 2006, right prior to the crash of 2007. I called it for $10,000 a pop. I've got people here that paid that amount of money. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got 5 copies. 5 copies. I'm bending over to get one of them. This is a copy of the book. I'll give away 5 to the membership of my live trader. We'll have Kelly Barber do the drawing like she always has in the past. We'll do it on January the 8th, and you will have it and have it as a adjunct to all your reads. It's good. It's still viable today. It's for all different size dollar amounts. It was some of the highlights of the last 25 years, me putting this together, and it really paid off if you remember what happened in 07. Now, there's a limited time enrollment for my live trading. Existing members get a discount of $7.49. Current members get signed up. I am going to cut that off because I will, as I keep making trade after trade, account after account grow, I'm going to change this price once we hit our limited time. So don't hesitate. This is not for people that can't make up their mind. This is not for people that don't see the value. This is for people that want to have a real live plan. Sign up right now. Now, if you're new, you can start tomorrow by joining us today. We'll be getting together at 1:30 to 3, all the way through the end of March. Let's take that account, whatever size it is, and grow it. That'll be our goal starting tomorrow. Take a picture of your net lick tomorrow if you join me, and then take a picture at the end of March where you'll look back and make it happen. Fair enough? Trade to win. Don't watch the market, trade it live. I'll show you, I'll teach you how to trade like a professional live in real time. Now, live trading with me is available. DTItrader.com, T-Buzz Live, or call us at 904-706-3532. I laid it out for you. If you got any questions, ask it. No, this is not a VIP program. This is a program designed for me to be live with you, personally live through this time period, and give you live trades. Some are short term, some are swing, some are long term. I'll do it right inside this time capsule every day, 1:30 to 3.